Hey everyone, this is a review of the Marvel Legends Danny Ketch Ghostrider with the motorcycle. Starting off with a closer look at the figure, this is a really badass figure. The details in the sculpt and everything, it's just really cool. As you can tell, the skull looks amazing. There's a nice wash on it for some darker colors, and inside the eyes there's some swirls for the pennant stare, so that's a cool little detail. But I mean, everything, even down to the tiny little teeth being sculpted on, just looks really nice. The jacket and everything is pretty good, what you'd kind of expect. Nothing too crazy. This is the Danny Ketch specific version. It's not totally accurate to the comic books, like the spikes on the wrist and stuff. The whole cuff isn't silver in the comic books, but I mean, it's all silver on the figure and stuff. And I think the same thing with the boot, probably, but that's just some minor little details. Everything else is decently accurate. But yeah, moving down towards the jeans, those look pretty good for what they are. Sculpted wrinkles here and there, nice pockets. The boots are pretty simple. Some spikes over on this one. There's a lot of asymmetry going on, so there's spikes on this boot but not on this one, and then on the hands there's spikes on this one but then not on this one as well. Just a little asymmetry going on there, but both of the shoulders have the spikes, which I think is pretty iconic, so I'm glad that they did that. And then there's just a little chain wrapped around. You can take that off if you want. Moving on to articulation, his head can theoretically go all the way around, but the collar is kind of blocking it in the chin, and I don't want to kind of force that any more than I have to. But you can get him side to side and then not really up and down. I forgot to point out there's some nice little neck detail sculpted in there that's painted as well, so that looks pretty cool. Shoulders, no butterfly joints, but they go up like that. And then there's a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. The wrists go up and down and then all the way around. There is a ab crunch. Goes forward like that and then back like that. But it's really smooth. I like that kind of ab crunch on my figures. And then a waist cut with a very satisfying kind of clicking noise. Legs kick out like that, back like that. Thigh cut, double jointed knees that go in pretty far. Boot cut, and then feet point down and up like that. They barely go up, but then there's a ankle pivot as well. All the articulation throughout the whole figure just feels really nice, very high quality. Nothing's too loose and nothing's too tight, so I really appreciate that. I don't know what they did differently, but it's just really nice overall on this one. Also, if I forgot to point it out at the beginning, his jaw does move like that, so that's really cool to have on the Ghostrider figure for sure. In terms of accessories for him, he has his iconic chain with some really nice fire details on that. Maybe it could have been a little bit longer, or we could have got, a couple different ones with different poses and stuff, because this one isn't posable or anything, but I mean, it works for what it is. And then he has two extra hands This one is a wide open hand, and then he gets a fist as well. And then both of the hands that are on the figure currently, which are these ones, are for holding either the chain or holding onto the bike. So speaking of the bike, here is a closer look at that. I think overall it's a cool look. You know, he's probably had some cooler bikes, I think, throughout comic book history and whatnot, but it's an alright choice. It's pretty standard, kind of sci-fi looking. But yeah, the detail on the wheels is nice. A little bit of yellow over the orange, and they spin freely, and they're kind of a softer, almost like flexible kind of rubber material. And then over here, some nice like speed dials and whatnot. Those are some pretty small but nice looking details. The handles kind of move around like this. The seat right there. And then this is what it looks like from the front. There's some like battle damage sculpted in there, which looks pretty cool. And then just to kind of show you one more time what he looks like on the bike. It's not too hard to get him on. And the hands go over the handles pretty easily. And there you go. It's just one more look. No problems with that whatsoever. And then the bike does come with some accessories, as you saw. There are these flame like wheel holders, so you can get him in on those. And that's what those look like. Really cool accessories, I think. And it holds the bike upright, so you don't have to worry about it falling whatsoever. And then there's one more that replaces the front flame, and it's this thing right here, which plugs into this hole towards the middle of the bike, and it goes in like that. Now you have him with his front tire up in the air, and I just think that's such a badass pose, and that's such a cool accessory to have. He just looks amazing on the shelf, no matter what pose you have him in, but this one is super dynamic, so I really like that. Here's a quick look at the box. Bear with me, it's pretty big, and my setup is very small, and my lens is not wide at all, so just bear with me while I try to show you this box. But yeah, it's a pretty cool box. There's the front, celebrating 85 years of Marvel. The colors are cool. I like the orange and the black. And then the background is pretty sick. Here's one side with kind of like a comic panel, it looks like. That's pretty cool. And then here's the back with some pretty cool product shots and a little read up. So overall, this is an amazing figure. I love it. It's one of my favorite Marvel Legends that I have in my collection right now. As of October 2025, it's up for about like $30-$40 on Big Bad Toy Store, which is a pretty good deal. So if you want one for a good deal, go to Big Bad Toy Store and you'll get yours there for a good discount. I think everything about the figure is just amazing. The accessories, the bike, the sculpt, the paint apps, everything is top notch. Very high quality. Definitely one of my favorite Marvel Legends so far. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.